Yeah, so I have just started recording, as I tell you every time. So if anyone does not want me to record, you still have the possibility to tell me, and you can also tell me afterwards if there's any points that you would like to be deleted from the video. Okay. So we have got to the point where we are going to publish next time, come hell or high water. And okay, Elisa, fine. Okay, and that means that we have got to finish the final version. Hi, Lisa. The final version of our stories, and also that we have to have a cover, and also that we have to have our stories formatted properly. Okay, so there are a few things. Now, I have, so we're not exactly at the perfect place yet, which is good since it's only the penultimate time. Basically, I have one story. I've received one full story. And as far as I know, I think only one. I've received some partially finished stories and some new plans for story. So, who has sent me a finished draft of the
Me.
final story? Who is me?
Eliza.
Eliza, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew about that. That's the one I was talking about. Has anyone else? No. Okay. So that means we have stuff to do. Okay, that's good. So first of all, if I look at what I have received, yeah, I have. Okay, I have here in my second story folder. Good. So I have received a new story outline from Dana. I have received the beginning of the story from Liana, and from Laura. I've just received something. Laura, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here.
It's
the structure that I was supposed to send you last time.
Okay, it's the structure. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, in order to make sure that we have all the stories finished by next time, I think we're going to look at your structure, Laura. We're going to look at Dana's new structure. We have to pay special attention to these things to make sure that they get done. Let me see. What about Raluca? How far have you got?
I would say about 85% done. I don't have a title yet. It'll be ready by tomorrow for sure.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. And do you have some doubts about it? Do you have some things you would like to discuss about it?
No, I think I'm fine. I really enjoyed the process this time. It's my team, so that's why I really felt connected to it and enjoyed it.
Awesome. Yeah.
I also think that mine is going to be done by tomorrow. I mean, once I redid the story and the structure, it started coming so naturally to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I started writing it today. So I think it was, I'm more than 30-40% done.
Good. Yeah.
And
So you've been working fast.
I wanted to say that I got a little bit stuck at certain points with just the order of things, and I would like to look at that today if possible together.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Today is about making sure that everything is in place for next time, where we will launch our, well, where we will launch this rocket of short story collection. So definitely we will do that. And let me see, what about Wana? How's it going?
Yes, I started writing this weekend, but I had a pretty rough week at work, so I was a bit out of it. By the end of tomorrow or Wednesday at noon, the latest, I'll have the first draft.
Okay, great.
The problem is that when I started writing, it sort of tends to run away from me, and I'm trying to bring it back in the structure. So but I think I'll be okay.
I know that problem very well. Yeah, and that's why I've really emphasized structure in this course, and also why, when we have that, because I think it was Raluca who said, you enjoyed it more now that you, yes, it's your own thing, right?
Yes.
And I definitely understand that, but it does have a point also to be doing the story according to a structure, that is perhaps a bit more impersonal or less, something you're less attached to, because it allows you to, to just look at the different points of structure that you need to go through. And that helps you build up the structure for the last story. So we have those things. We're going to go through all of your issues this time, all of your questions, and I would like to look at. Okay, I'm going to start out by, we have a few things to do. The cover. First of all, has anybody thought of the cover or found any illustration that might work for the cover?
I'm still in the process. I'm brainstorming.
Okay. Okay.
I also volunteered, but I have a lot of plans. I wanted to draw something myself, but I've barely been able to keep up with the writing as it is, so I haven't been able to draw anything. And I can, I can think of something, but if Elisa or anybody else is further in the process, then I'm fine just stepping out, because I don't want to make promises that I can't keep.
I mean, from my point of view, it's just all systems go. Whoever has any idea, go for it and develop it. And next time we're going to vote and see which one gets chosen. So.
Okay, then I'll show you my work next time, or before that, I'll email it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, the more the merrier, the more the better chance it will have something really good. Good. Okay. And then there's the formatting. Okay, I received a very nicely formatted story from Elisa, so I'm very pleased with that. How was it for the rest of you implementing the formatting?
So what I decided to do, I don't know if that was wrong, was to first write and then do this like at the end, because I'm not familiar with it at all, and I thought it would just hinder the creative process because it would stress me. I don't know if I'm going about it the right way.
I mean, you can go about it how you want, but it'll probably take you longer like this. But it's not a. I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, what you can do if you're doing it the other way around is just basically just copy paste, right? And then copy paste from the document I sent you, and then copy paste from your own thing into the relevant parts, and then just remove the text from the document, that is left over from the document I sent you, and that should be fine.
I see.
But let's just have a look. I'm going to show Elisa's. Where did it go? Okay. Yeah, it's because I have too many windows open, so it's not. Oh, there we are. Show all windows. Come on. I don't know what happened here. Just a second. Yeah, the girl who put her book. Okay. This. I don't know why I'm not seeing it in Zoom. I'm only seeing it. I'm only seeing it on my own computer. Just a second. There we are. Okay, I just had to close it and open it again. All right, so okay. So as we can see here, I'm just gonna move this over here. So here, can you see that I have the formatting tab open? Do you see my cursor going around it? Okay, so if I put the cursor here in the title, then I can see over here, the one that's marked as the one called Kindle chapter title. That is exactly the style that we want for the title of the story. So that's great. If I go down and I click here, I can see it says paperback, no indent, which is what we want for the first paragraph, because we don't want any indentation in the first paragraph. Okay, so far everything is perfect. Okay, then down here I see we have some indentation, which is also good. It's the style called Kindle Normal, which is exactly what we want to have here. And if we go down, you can see it all starts with the same indent. It has the same space between the paragraphs, which is also what we want. Okay, if I turn on this marker, you can see that there's only one here. There's only one, so Elisa only pressed the space bar once, which is also what we want. We don't want any extra pressing of the space bar, because that can mess up the formatting. So far it looks good. It looks good. If we go down here, it looks good. You see it all has the same indentation. And go further down. Okay, here, let's see what style it is. Centered, yeah, that's exactly the one for the stars. And now I see a small mistake. Can you see what it is? Elisa, you're muted, I think.
Sorry. Yeah, so it's down where it's like a siren far, far away there, or is it another one?
It's another one. It's
another one.
It's this one.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
It's the wait. Did I put like a space or something?
No, you didn't. You didn't. I would see that here because, as you see, I've turned on these paragraph markings.
Oh yeah, it was supposed to be at the no. I don't think I get it.
Okay, okay. So the thing is that after these stars, when there's a split in the text,
Yeah.
that's just like when you start the document. So so here we want the style called no indent, right?
Yeah.
So as you can see, this is the Kindle normal style. So there is some indentation here, which there should not be. So I'm
Oh,
just,
yeah.
so you
it
see,
was supposed to be without. Yeah.
yeah, but what
Yeah,
I
now I
can
get
do
it.
here,
Yeah.
what I can do since I have the styles here on the side is I just put the cursor here and then I click this one that is called paperback no indent and bang, then it's fixed. Right, this is how we do it. So you see, we don't use any tab, we don't use any spacebar or anything. Good. And let me just check if everything else looks fine. So far it looks fine, it looks fine. It looks great. Okay. Okay. This doesn't really matter because it's at the end of the document, but it still does matter sort of, because what we want is, you see, you have these extra enter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that can look not necessarily, but it's possible in someone reading on a Kindle or an iPad, probably especially a Kindle, it might show up strangely because if you have these extra things, then maybe, for example, we don't know where the person is when they're reading, and it depends on how big they've made their text. And so if they've made it exactly so big that this is where the page shifts, then, for example, you could have like an empty page just with these spaces here. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that would that would, and what we really want to happen is that the next page we want to have the next story.
Yeah.
So but this is easy because I just put the cursor here, go delete, 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 and then it's gone. So okay, so this was very well formatted. If it makes it very, very easy to do. It was just a couple of very small things that needed changing. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so for example, if we look at a normal text, is it okay, Liana, if I show yours?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Because this, I know that you haven't tried to format it, so it's not like you did anything wrong, but it's just to show what it looks like.
Yeah.
When it's not formatted. Okay, so let's see, new share, where is it? Part of us here. Okay, so here I have that on, so you can see there's a space here, space here, space here, and yeah, and here the text is pretty close together. So so you don't see anything that looks really catastrophic. Okay, then there are those here, but you see what I mean? Like in the beginning, you get this, and also you don't get the indentation.
Yeah.
But what? Oh, let's ask Elisa. What did you do to format yours?
I just wrote my story in like a Google Drive, Google Docs thing, document, and then I opened a template, and then just like pasted the text basically, or like
Okay.
the separate, like the title, and then like the first paragraph, just to make sure, and then just remove the text that was there already. So
Exactly. So that's basically what Liana can do also, because if you're writing it, Liana, first, and then formatting, then that's exactly how Elisa did it. So just paste it in. Yeah, just paste it in. So that seems to be working quite well. Is there anyone who has some questions about this formatting thing? Was there anyone who didn't get the email with the formatting? Okay,
We got it.
great. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these things that you have written, and then let's just take them one at a time. Okay, so Liana,
Yeah.
how you said you wanted to talk about the order of things in your story.
Yeah. So may I?
Yes, if I may just remark, I like the way that you started it, because it's this beginning makes you curious about, what the deal is. So
Great.
yeah, okay.
It's kind of what I went for. What I thought I would do for the first 2 pages or 1.5 pages of the story. So my question was about the so-called first disaster. Is it okay if if my character is recounting it so that it happened before the present moment in the story?
Yeah.
Because see, she's sitting at the cafe, she's having her coffee, and I'm basically so I've written just a teeny bit more after I sent it to you. And let me see. Let me see, where can you scroll down a little?
Sure.
Okay, so between those 2 bits, the paragraph that ends with her little angel pendant, which she never took off anymore, and I wonder if she has kids.
Yeah.
In between there, I've inserted a bit about her miscarriage, but that's the first disaster, basically.
Okay.
And I'm again not just telling it per se, but I'm saying something like how when I say, okay, the pendant, she never took it off anymore. And then I say, where the hell am I? Yeah. Okay. So I said, okay, this pendant, she got it on the day she went out of hospital, and she wasn't sure whether to wear it or not because it made her feel uneasy. But she discovered that whenever she remembered the stillbirth, and she remembers it like a flashback in which she hears this wailing in her head, she touches it with 2 fingers and she starts cradling it like she would a baby that would be in her arms. So this is the way that I tell what happened, how she gave birth to this baby that died a few moments after. And that's my first disaster. And then I go back to the present moment, which you can see there in what you're screen sharing. So when she parks in front of the lawyer's house.
Okay.
So my question was if this makes sense. I mean, obviously you don't have the text in front of you, but I mean in a temporal way, if it's okay to do this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, that's a narrative device, right? Yeah, absolutely fine.
And then my other thing is, okay, she's at this lawyer woman's place, and last time when you gave me some advice, you said, okay, it would be the second disaster would be, the fact that Mary realizes how this woman has everything she's ever wanted, so she basically gets the hell out of there. And then, I've been just schematically writing for myself what happens next. And I'm stuck at this point where I'm like, okay, how should they end up um, talking again? Because that's the third disaster when they have the fight, you know? But it seems a bit artificial for two women who've only met once to start fighting over the phone. Like, I just can't wrap my head around it, you know? And I'm a bit
Yeah,
stuck.
yeah. Well, that's your job. I mean, that's you know,
Yeah,
that's that, like, as the writer, you have to find a way,
find a
and you
way, right?
and you very rightly, like, you see the issue, right? And you see that there's something missing, and then and that's very good. And of course, the temptation is to ignore that there's something missing, which a lot of people do. But of course, you
I
should
don't
not.
want to do that.
You should, yeah, you should not ignore it. You should realize, okay, so I feel like there's something missing. So probably there's something missing. So you really got to think about what would make that believable.
Yes, that's you've summarized it. How to make it believable. That's what I'm struggling with, you know, because I don't want to jump from just in order to tick off the boxes. Like I've got my second disaster. Let me move on to the third now.
Yeah, that if that's exactly. There's some echo on the line. Can you hear echo as well? Oh, it's better
No,
now.
I don't.
Okay, so that's exactly what happens with you know, sort of lazy writing, when you watch which has happened to me,
Movie.
you know, many times, which I think I told you about when I was what
You've told us in the first session, I think. Yeah.
yeah, so watching a Hollywood movie and knowing what's going to happen because I know the meta structure, which is the hero's journey. Of course, we don't want that to happen, so you have to block those holes and make it believable. Yeah, that just takes grit, you know, and hard work
Yeah.
and thinking until you come up with something that you
Yeah.
feel, you know, you would find believable.
Yeah. And perhaps, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be lazy, but at the same time, there is the time pressure. So maybe if I find something, even if it's not the best solution, then I should just stick with it.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, priority number one is finishing, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay. Well, that was about it for me. And I mean, I kind of anticipated what you were going to say, but it still helps to vocalize it because I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like a bit more encouraged now, or,
yeah,
yeah, a bit cocooned. I'm like, okay, you've confirmed that I have to do this. And
yeah,
yeah, I'll keep thinking about it and I'll find a way.
awesome, excellent.
Thank you.
Um, great. So we can move on to who, Laura. Shall we look at your structure?
Yes.
Okay, let's see.
One last thing. Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place today. Sorry, Laura. I just
No
wanted to
problem.
ask: is there a decent amount of showing in my story? I meant to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, I liked, as I said in the beginning, because that's what I read. I liked the way that you built it up, and that was kind of showing. It doesn't strictly. We can look at it again. It doesn't strictly obey the rules, but because you have like a small cafe and that kind of thing. But that's extreme showing is of course getting rid of the adjectives as well. But let's have a look at this. For example, Mary was drinking her coffee at the small cafe near her flat, as she did every morning before driving to school. Okay, so that's telling, right? But you're telling us about the background, but it could be justified. So let's see, sipping the hot drink, she went through her to-do list for that rainy September day. Go to school, teach until 1:30, go home, private tutoring, do the groceries, drop them off, go to the meeting with Mrs. Applebaum. Okay, of course, you're telling us, yeah, she does this every day. This is her routine. But, you know, but we're getting into her head. So maybe it's okay. It's not bad telling. It's not judgmental. So, I mean, getting judgmental is like the worst you can go with telling. Her rose gold Apple smartwatch indicated it was 7:30, which meant she had to get going if she didn't want to be late for her first class. She grabbed her tall cappuccino and her bag and sprinted to the car through the chilly morning. Okay, so verbs like sprinted, that's really good for showing, right? Because instead of just saying running, instead of saying went, you know, it's a very descriptive verb, and that increases the you know, showing value. So yeah, on the whole, I would say it's you know, judging from the first paragraph, it's pretty all right in the showing department. So Laura, sure, let's see. There. So we have the outline here. Right. So Laura, did you have some things you were unsure about in the outline?
Yeah, I missed the how is called opinions. Her opinions. Actually, I didn't have time to put the opinions here.
Okay, it's not the most important.
Yeah, I will insert them during writing the story.
Okay. Okay, so tagline: an old lady forced to choose between recreating her life or remain to take care of her parrot. Wow. Okay, that's quite a dilemma. Let me see. Okay, physical characteristics: always has her hair done in a bun, very elegant, classic style, blonde with blue eyes, 62 years old. Psychological, harsh and intolerant. Yep, convinced that she is always right. She does not accept any compromise. She's a misanthropist. She always keeps her promises. Okay, so yeah, this is quite interesting combination, and I would say that it is also quite consistent, right? Because she always keeps her promises. That is in keeping with being harsh and intolerant, because, you know, because she'll also be harsh and intolerant towards herself probably if she doesn't keep her promises.
Yeah, because she expects the same from the people, but they not always happen, which made her misanthropist.
Yeah, it makes sense. So far so good. Conflict. An old, recently retired diplomat lives alone in a gorgeous house in Costa Blanca, Spain. Nearly broken? You mean nearly broke?
Financial broken, yeah.
Yeah, broke.
Okay.
Nearly broke. Her salvation is when she was offered a last highly diplomatic mission from the government, which requires a presence and relocation to Washington for the next 4 years. But before the departure, she has a delicate situation to resolve. So her parrot, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I see. So to fill the emptiness in her life after retiring, get rid of the feeling of inutility, concrete, to find someone to take care of the parrot after her leaving. Okay. Yeah, nice. And it fills the boxes of abstract and concrete. So she still wants to have that feeling of connectedness with her parrot, basically. So paragraph structure, okay. This is, of course, the test of fire. Valeria
Yeah.
lives in her beautiful house situated on the beach with her pet, Hugo the parrot, her only companion for years that she is very fond of. On top of her loneliness, she has big financial issues. It could be solved, okay? Break up with Hugo. Hugo will suffer depression and finally die if he would be moved out from the house where he was born. Hugo already stopped talking since Valeria retired. Oh my God, yeah, I see it.
Such a tragic
That's-
comical story. It's
You-
great.
you are tugging at our heartstrings here, and I really like how you have made it like a tough situation, like something that the reader can really see. Oh my God, Hugo is going to die if if she doesn't find this parrot sitter. Okay, one day she receives an unexpected call from her former boss. He offers her a job in Washington next 4 years, explaining there's nobody with her experience. Yada yada. After deciding to accept the mission, Valeria has 1 month to find the new buyers for her house. But most importantly, these tenants must be foster parents for Hugo. The adventure of searching begins by posting an announcement. Okay. Yeah, so that was that's the first disaster, right? And then
Yes.
okay, each person visiting is subject to an interview, although Hugo does not reveal Valeria does not reveal the reason behind
Yeah.
from the beginning. After she tells buyers about the parrot, they refuse the deal. Okay, being more convinced.
Second disaster.
Yeah, so she tries to make things better, but it fails. Okay. When she's almost at the point of losing her hopes, she receives a visit from Maya, a young musician. Woman disagrees with their attitude, so although she likes the house very much, she decides to leave. Suddenly, Hugo starts talking behind the curtain, saying, Maya. Maya got scared when Valeria confesses that she needs to find someone to take care of Hugo. She becomes more upset at the old lady, reproaching her for hiding the truth. And she leaves the house. Okay, I like it. It's very disastrous, right? It's like it's just getting worse and worse. Okay. The next morning, Valeria decides to call her former boss and reject the job offer. But the discussion with him is somehow illuminating. He emphasizes that this job is a new beginning for her, a new return to a former life and a new opportunity, maybe the last one. Okay, so she
Mentor
decides.
discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, with the mentor, yeah. The next day, Maya returns, apologizes for judging the lady, and accepts the offer. She reveals that hearing her name uttered by a parrot was to her a sign that this is the right way, and she should buy the house and keep Hugo. Okay.
I couldn't find something to close that look more, I don't know.
Plausible. Okay, so I would say up to that point, it was very solid structure. Now, this thing about hearing her name uttered by a parrot, this is not a solid, right? Because it's
Yes, I know. I made it in the last half an hour. So
sure. So you need to go back to and find another reason why Maya accepts it. And I'll tell you one thing, something that is really important about this, because this kind of ending is what we call saved by the cavalry. So it's being when, everything looks hopeless, but then an external force comes along and saves the day. And basically that external force in this case is that Maya is kind of, she's looking at signs and parrots and stuff like that. But the thing is that in order for it to be a really satisfying story arc, we need it to be something the protagonist needs to be saved by something she did or something she learned, right? So she kind of changes her attitude because of what she's learned or what Maya has told her or something.
Yeah, actually, initially it was the old lady going to Maya and try to convince her and
Mhm.
succeeded finally. But I don't know exactly why and how.
Yeah, that's again, just like I said to Liana, that is your job as a writer. This is where like you can spend a long time thinking about exactly this point, but that is where the you know, that's the difference between a satisfying plot and, you know, an unsatisfying plot. So yeah, you should find that solution. And, you know, it doesn't have to be, it's not necessary that it is something that is realistic. It just has to be something that is uh, consistent, you know, cohesive with the story. So
Yes, I know.
yeah. So something maybe that the old lady learns along the way and that makes her change her behavior. That will be very good. Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let me see. Stop share. Okay, so let's look at Dana. So Dana, oh, I don't see it here. What? Margot's collection. Okay. Yeah. So I have to open this, and I have to go back into Zoom, and then it should be there. No, it's not there. Okay. Damn. Yeah. Sorry about this. Just a second. Here it is. Okay. So paragraph structure. Okay. Okay. So Dana, is this the only thing you changed was the paragraph structure?
I changed the title, the tagline, and the entire story. The only thing that stayed the same, I'm not muted. The only thing that stayed the same are her psychological, physical characteristics and her opinions. I also changed the motivation.
Okay. Okay. So Margot's collection of remarkable dreams. A tagline: a single mom of two is a career counselor by day and a witch with the gift of prophecy by night. Okay. Nice. And physical and psychological.
Or just
Okay.
like last time. And then her opinions are the same, but I changed the motivation.
Okay. So motivation. She wants to build a spiritual practice that will help people, and especially women, become aware of and tap into their power and realize who they really are. She's drawn to the occult and magic. Okay, good. Good. The King of Exile, yeah. And strange things always. Okay, so here we have the paragraph structure. So let's just dive into it. Strange things always seem to happen in Margot's life. She could sometimes influence people, events, and outcomes, even the weather. Yet until the age of 38, she had never known if she had supernatural powers. or was a witch, or simply had a hyperactive imagination. She had always looked for her tribe and never felt she really belonged to any one professional group. Yeah, so that makes sense. She doesn't find her passion in her professional, like her kind of surface level professional life, but in her kind of more clandestine career as a witch, as far as I can tell. Okay, one night she dreams she must create a course during which people would be able to leave their bodies and identities for a short while and fully realize from their soul's perspective what their true needs and vocations are. A master appears at the end of her dream, and she immediately realizes it is her guru, her master, the one who will guide her and finally help her find her own place. Okay, yeah, so that's the first disaster. Basically, she meets her master. Yeah, that's quite a disaster. Okay, guided by her master, she creates a ritual and a potion that puts people, her clients, in an out of body and out of consciousness state for an hour. She works directly with their souls, and they tell her what they each truly want and need, many times explaining why certain hardships occurred in the lives of their human carrier. Wow. Ooh. Okay, that's interesting. So the human carrier is kind of not just the body, but the personality, and the soul is something beyond the personality. Okay, she falls in love with an almost perfect man who seems to be in love with her, but she has a prophetic dream where she puts him through the ritual and he tries to hurt her. She sees the prophecy soon come to life and has to use magic with the help of her master to escape her suitor's real intentions. Okay. Yeah, but this is something new that is starting. Okay, performing another ritual for a client, she falls in love with the man's soul and foresees his success and contribution to a cause dear to her. But he has a lot to overcome. Her master rewards her for her work and helps clear the path for her and her lover to be together. Okay, can you explain this? So I understand up and to and including 3. But then it seems like something else is happening. First, there's one man who she falls in love with, but he turns out to be the wrong one. And then there's another man who she falls in love with, but he turns out to be the right one.
Yes, I think that she learns the lesson of what she's actually doing for people. So she, under the guidance of her master, she found a way to directly communicate with people's souls. And she learns the lesson of falling in love with someone's soul and not someone's personality or appearance. She has to go through that herself. So that's
I see.
what's going on in 4 and 5. She falls in love. She thinks she falls in love with a guy that seems perfect for her, personality wise, passion wise. And then something happens while she puts him through the ritual, and she realizes his soul is completely different than what he appears to be. And then she finally, when in the ending, she falls in love with a soul, with another man's soul beyond his personality or what he seemed or, his appearance.
Yeah, that's pretty brilliant, because you have it build up and show the premise, and then using that premise, you show how the normal way that we do things doesn't work, but using this premise of going through the soul, it works to find the right person. Yeah, That's awesome. Okay, that's yeah, if that's the structure, that's solid. Okay, so here's some writing. She pulled Daniel's hand running through the downstairs corridor of the two-story building. I'm just going to look at the first paragraph. The entrance hallway was ablaze and there was no way to get out through the front door. On her left, a short and narrow service door led into the backyard. She pushed it and then kicked it with her right leg. The door opened and, practically dragging Danny through the air, she got him outside, free to breathe and unharmed. Okay, so is this how the story begins?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. So you plunge us straight into the action. And it is pretty much showing. There's, yeah, there's only one thing that is, of course, against the rules of show don't tell. And what is that? I think you know. I mean, it's a small thing. It's a technicality.
Frantically?
Yeah, frantically. Yeah, it's an adverb. Yeah, yeah, because you can easily show that she did this frantically.
I'm not giving it up. I like it there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, but but it's a good example because you can, when you do show don't tell, you can use and everybody can decide how much of showing they want to do, how much telling. But it's really possible to show that it's frantic rather than telling us that it's frantic, because I mean, how would you? I mean, first of all, the whole situation is frantic, right? Everything's on fire, so we would already expect her to be frantic. And then also, you could also have something like the way that she pulls at his hand. I don't know, you know, rips a hole in his skin or something like that. You know, that there are ways of showing it, but it's also fine. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. Do you have any questions about the story?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I love it. I can't wait to continue writing it.
Excellent. Okay. So let's see what's the next one is that we have to look at. Let's see, we've had Liana, we've had Laura, we've had. Okay, so we've had all of them. And how about you, Elisa? I mean, you finished your first draft. How do you feel about it? Do you have anything?
I mean, I don't know if it's good enough, but I don't know if I can do it better or not. I really don't know, but yeah, I really like the process.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, from what I've read of it, it looks captivating. So yeah. Again, yeah. So okay, if you don't have any questions about that, then I think who else? Okay, so Juana, do you want to tell us about your story, how it's going?
Well, it's going. That's the best way to go about it. I just realized I wanted to ask something, but I've completely forgotten. I remember now. Can I start the story with dialogue? I mean, is there any rule against it? Because
No.
Okay.
No rules against it. I mean, they say that that for writing, like when you have when you start the first paragraph of a story or a book, there are different things that you can do to make it captivating. One of the things is having a dialogue that is captivating by the choice of words, because you might say, for example, like, who would say something like that? So a dialogue that shows the character of the person speaking, that could work. And or it can be something something unusual situation that is described, so that and that's in general for opening paragraphs, like if there's something unusual that the reader is like, there's something wrong here, I need to read more in order to find out what the situation is. So yeah, no, but dialogue is fine to start with. Yeah. Okay. And how far did you say you had got, Wana?
I'm somewhere at the end of the first disaster, something like that, because I'm sort of switching a timeline between the first disaster, which is the acceptance of the invitation, and the first part when I introduce the character. So I'm sort of trying to figure out which one goes first and how to combine them. But basically, if I can start with the dialogue, I think I know how I'm going. So that's going to be easier.
Awesome. Okay. And Raluca?
So now I realize that my story is kind of long. And I don't know what to do about it. I mean, it's I have about 6,000 words at this point, and there are still things that need to happen. I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah.
I just took a lot of time trying to sketch out the characters. I love the characters. I needed them to just click together and just be sort of just effortlessly in a relationship, but not a romantic one, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't want to rush it towards the end. I just don't want to ruin it. So I think I'll try and stay within 10,000 words.
Okay. I mean, we've had in this course, there have been groups where people have written like super long stories, so it's fine,
Oh, okay. That's okay.
So 8,000 words is not too long.
It's not too long. No, it's fine.
That's perfect.
But I mean, one guy wrote 80 pages, but I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, he wrote 80 pages and he said that he had only written 2/3 of it by the time the course ended. So I mean, the problem was that he didn't know when to end, I think. So of course you need to have the ending in sight. I mean, it's fine that it's long, but you have to know when it ends.
And it sort of just jumps from one time to the other, because in order to just make it plausible in a way, I needed to have like a longer time span. And so I had to jump from one time to the other and just have these breaks in between. But I guess that's fine. I mean, it doesn't bother me much when I read it back. So I guess it's okay. I mean,
Okay.
is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't bother you when you read it again.
I mean, it still makes sense after I read it. So I guess it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, if you read it aloud as if you're reading it for the first time.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about the structure? Is it? I mean,
It's
do you
going according to the plan.
okay.
I didn't have a problem with that because the plan was mine. So in a way, it made it easier for me to have a plan for sure. It made my thoughts more organized. So that's a great thing.
Great, excellent. All right then. Um, so, and what about when it comes to show don't tell?
Well, it's still a lot of telling that I can say.
Okay.
But that's just because I feel like sometimes I don't have the vocabulary to make it more showy. I don't know how to. And then, but I also, for the first time, understood what it's like to show something rather than tell it. And it just clicked in my mind at some point. So I have, I definitely have more showing than I did for my last story, which is good, but still a lot of telling, and I can see it. Kind of like a combination, the best I could do.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that'll do. I mean, as long as you're conscious of
Yeah,
when you're showing, when you're telling, and you're conscious that it doesn't become like judgmental.
yeah, I'm trying.
I mean, the worst thing you can do in and this just talking generally to everybody is like judging your characters, like saying, I mean, of course, the cartoon thing is to say, this guy was a really bad man. Okay, then you know, yeah, then it's all been told, and you don't need
Wasn't
to.
Charles Dickens doing that sort of thing?
Sorry, what's the what?
Wasn't that like a Charles Dickinson thing, or like a 19th century thing that writers did to judge their characters? Or am I off?
Well, 19th century, the writers tended to give a lot of their own thoughts during the story. So they would digress, like while telling the story, sometimes for for tens of pages, just to make a point about something like, for example, that it's such a shame that now we have trains instead of horse-drawn coaches, because it was such a wonderful time. I, I can't remember. I think that was Thackeray who did that in Vanity Fair, and he talked about it extensively, or maybe it was Dickens, but it was one of those two, and I remember that. But they would digress for a long time, or spend a long time just describing a space, like 20 pages describing a house, for example, and then we move in and talk about them. So yeah, they could really talk about their characters, and they would really tell. So yeah, you're not off, because people like Dostoevsky and Dickens were like masters of telling. So I mean, if you remember some of the Dostoevsky novels, for example, I remember, what was it, The Brothers Karamazov or something? I mean, it turned out being my favorite novel by Dostoevsky, but I was like, this guy would never get published, these days, because it just started out by telling, and only like starting out by giving you background about all sorts of stuff, and before any action at all had happened. So yeah,
But
that's
why
typical
do you
19th
think they
century.
did that? I mean, what was different then about the way people wrote compared to today?
I think people had longer attention span, for one thing, and
Hmm.
also people tended to write in installments in those days. So
Like publishing parts of,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So Dickens published his books in installments, like 50 pages a time, in magazines. So he just had to write 50 pages. So, you know, I
So
mean,
was that like an intentional thing that they would do just to have enough to keep on like publishing such long bits every time they were
I mean,
sending something?
you're not going to make them admit that, but the thing is that obviously, you know, you got to think if that's your financial model, then and sometimes Dickens didn't know what was going to happen, you know, so he
Sounds like a soap opera when you don't know what is going to happen. You just
Yeah.
like prolong it.
I mean, he would have an idea, but I know that there are times when he changed his mind about things, and he had already written certain things, and then yeah, you know, found a way of making it work anyway. So yeah, it was a different time, but there is definitely also the thing about the attention span, because that meant that, you know, that the writer could have a whole philosophical treatise about various stuff, you know, and keep the reader's attention, because there was less competition than there is now. So now the competition is crazy. You have to, even if you're a published author in one of the biggest publishing houses, you have to then think, okay, so I'm in the bookshop.
How do I stay there?
Yeah, how do I stay there? And how do I make sure that the readers who pick up my book in the bookshop don't put it down, you know, because if they put it down, they'll buy somebody else's book. So it really had to, you know, they really had to captivate people from the first sentence sometimes, you know, like first sentences are really important these days. In those days it was, yeah, didn't matter so much. So yeah.
Very different worlds.
Yes, it is. And also now that we are self-publishing on Amazon, that makes it even harder, because the thing is, on Amazon, a lot of the writers on Amazon are not really all that good, but they will still, there are many of them who will have some success because of choosing a specific topic, or choosing something that is more kind of to do with crossing two things, like, you know, like erotica or romance novels can be really, really, really successful. And I've tried to read some of them to see how you're, you know, how can you be successful as a writer? How can you sell books? And I've tried to study those people who write in a kind of industrial fashion. And what they tend to do is that they also do things with search terms, and they see, okay, if I can combine these two categories in romance, then I will have a niche market, and people will, you know, will buy my books even if they're not all that good. And so some people will write very fast, because the business model is to publish maybe, you know, once every 3 months or something like that. So in order to get a high enough income, and therefore you can't really make the, you know, make it that perfect, but you know, but people do that. what I noticed about them is that many times the English isn't even correct, you know, because they didn't have time to edit properly. But they're still, you know, they're still making money. They're still selling enough. So, yeah, it's an interesting market. And many people there, you will find that many of the people who go onto Amazon to buy books are not interested in something. It's not for all people, but in many cases, people are interested in just something entertaining. And if you do that, many times people are willing to accept, you know, some substandard English or some, you know, some things that maybe don't always completely make sense. So, yeah, it's a very different
Well,
market.
like if you buy something like this and then you notice these things, you know, like the substandard English, the inconsistencies, whatever, I mean, are you going to buy again from that author? You won't recommend it, I would think. Like, how would they still sell after a while, is what I'm wondering. Or are
Yeah,
people's standards so low?
I think that, yeah, on the longer term, that is true. But, and I think that standards are going up. I noticed that more and more of these romance authors are beginning to hire proper editors so that their English becomes better. But definitely people have accepted substandard English as long as it gives enough of a kick in the story. Like, you know, like a girl who is fought over by a vampire and a werewolf, you know, like, what's it called?
Twilight?
Twilight, yeah. I mean, as long as the theme is compelling enough, for some reason, readers, that is the more important thing. So there was actually a kind of a market research done by Google, by some guys at Google who wanted to see what was selling in the romance genre, and they they looked at like what male figures are the most popular in the romance genre, what sells the best. And they're engineers who did this analysis, so they just did it by the numbers. And so, and of course, the market was being sold to is mostly women. So they found that the following characters are the most best-selling characters in the romance genre. There's Doctor, Billionaire, Vampire, Werewolf, Pirate. I think that's it. Yeah. Maybe I've missed one of them, but yeah. So I think that if you can make a story which is a combination of some of these things, it doesn't matter so much, you know. Yeah. It depends on the readers, of course. But I did recently. You can, if you want to do some of this research yourself, you can get a lot of free books. There is a website that is very good. It's called BookBub, and on BookBub, you can sign up to their mailing list. And they will send you special offers like several times a week, and many of those special offers are free Kindle books. So you can you just choose which category you like, and they will send you special offers in that category. And so when we talk about marketing, that's one of the most, I mean, BookBub is one of the most important websites for book marketing because if you can get on one of their emails that they send out with your book, then you have guaranteed like generally a few thousand sales. It's absolutely
How do you
amazing.
do that?
Sorry?
How do you do that? Like, how do you get their interest?
They have to like your book, you submit, and they look at it on Amazon, they see how many reviews does it have, how are the reviews. Okay, if they think it looks legit, then they will start reading it. If they think it looks okay, then they will accept it, and then you get the privilege of paying a lot of money to be on the email list. Like, for example,
So you have to pay to be on it.
yes. I mean, not to subscribe to the email list, but you have to pay to get your book on
That's what I mean. Yeah,
on
yeah,
one
yeah.
of the emails, and that is the one I would like to get on is if you, because they tier it according to how much you pay. I mean, how big the price is of the book. So I would like to get on the one for the 99-cent slot, because I can put my books on a Kindle Countdown deal for 99 cents, and then an email, depending on the category, will cost about $700. So to get put on the email, that'll cost $700. If you have your book full price at the time, then it'll cost thousands of dollars. So yeah, it's something. But I've followed some blogs and I've seen that people have made, like, there was one guy who wrote that he made 4,000 sales around the day when the email was sent out. So 4,000 sales at $1 each. Okay, but then you get in royalty, you get about about 70 cents per sale. So that means $2,800. And if you paid $700 for the email, then that's worth it.
Worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. Plus, also, you can really use that. You can get the people who buy it onto your email list and all that kind of thing. You know, get them to buy your next books as well. So yeah, okay. What do you guys think is a good theme for our cover for our anthology?
I just had an idea.
Yeah.
I was just like listening to all the stories, and again, I made like a brainstorming map with everyone's ideas and their stories. And I was thinking about I think a photo you showed us like last time, or I don't know exactly what time, with yin and yang, the darkness and the light.
Yeah.
And I feel like each story kind of encapsulates that idea, that essence of like the ones in darkness trying to get to the light, and then the ones in light kind of trying to get in the darkness. And that's just like our nature, and it's just like all the stories were with people, and yeah, and in different situations. So
okay, how can you give some examples how that is the case?
what should I start with? Basically, some of the stories like included something related to magic or like supernatural kind of. So I thought that would be again like kind of aspiring to darkness, kind of to the dark side of things, but at the same time trying to keep in like a balance. That's what I wanted to show.
What about the
like-
parrot?
Sorry?
What about the parrot?
What about the parrot? I was thinking maybe because Laura said that is more like the parrot didn't sing at one point or like didn't talk. He was just like depressed. So I
Yeah.
think that's the mental health kind of going into the dark side of things.
Mm.
Again. Sorry, Laura.
No,
I don't wanna be like
it's interesting point of view.
but I was just like trying to find a way of like balancing things. And like again with like self-discovery, everyone had like something regarding self-discovery and transformation and finding a balance, finding a vocation, like Dana said, with the vocation and talent and what you want to do in your life, or Raluca said about like a lawyer going on a journey of self-discovery. Um, yeah, and Liana also with being like being not being able to have a child, and I think that I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like what I got. That's
I'm and how can we show it graphically?
maybe just take maybe some of the main elements and kind of like show like a white side and a black side to it, like just representing yin and yang basically.
Mhm.
I was thinking of like going for black and white, but yeah,
Okay.
I mean that's just an idea.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And what kind of, yeah, Diana?
Also thinking, but I'm not sure if I'm right about this. Are all the protagonists of our stories women?
No, mine is a boy.
It's a boy. Yours is a boy. Yeah. Okay. And your second character, the girl he falls in love with, is she also a protagonist or a secondary character?
He is the protagonist as well. That's the thing. Yeah, she's the protagonist because he has like he sets his main focus on her and like her changing and watches her. It's kind of like telling her story from his point of view. So I would say that it's more about her than him. Somehow. I don't know.
And the parrot can be a female as well if it's needed.
Well, but I mean, you have the owner who is a woman.
Yeah, exactly. The owner
and
and
the
the
other
musician as
woman,
well.
and the other woman also, the one that is, eventually takes over her place. So I don't know what I was thinking of last time, and now listening to you, Elisa, I was wondering if there can be a connection there. I was gonna go with like an image of womanhood. That was what I was planning for the cover. But I didn't have anything very concrete in my mind. I was just thinking of symbols of womanhood. It's quite vague. But now listening to you, I'm wondering if there can be that side to it combined with something about
I was thinking the same.
light
Right
and
now.
darkness within us. I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So, yeah. And what kind of a title do you think?
Yeah, I was going to ask, what about a title? Because that would be like a really quite a huge part of the cover. So, yeah. What title?
Yeah. What title? Anybody?
Encapsulates like everything.
Speaking of the title, so there will be one title on the cover, and then there will be like a not glossary.
Table of contents.
Yeah, thank you. With all the titles inside.
Yeah. Yeah. So
the front cover title needs to be something that encapsulates all the other titles in a way.
Yeah, so for example, one of the other groups had a title called, how was it? 10 Shards, I think. So just shards, like broken pieces of glass, so that the idea
Nice.
is that we had a full
Ooh.
piece of glass in the group, and then each one of them is a shard.
That's
So-
Like piece of a puzzle.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
how many stories are we going to have? So we have
6?
uh,
Is
Six.
it? Or wait.
Seven, I
I
think.
think you said that we will have like one of the monk stories as
so
well.
7 stories, I suppose.
7 stories. Okay. And
hmm So 7 stories. And what could it be? 7?
It's a magic number, right?
Yeah,
it is.
it is a magic
Oh.
number.
Hmm.
So
7 days per week. 1 week of stories.
yeah,
Yeah, I kind of like that. I want to find if there's a specific reference to the number 7, because maybe we can find something.
Well, there are loads.
there are loads. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like,
7.
I don't know if we can send files in the chat of this meeting, but I
Try
was
it.
just looking
oh, okay.
at these kinds of 1 second images, a bit I don't know, astrological, I guess. Let me see. And this could be nice because there could be something that looks a bit like one of those, I don't know, astrology inspired
Oh, yeah, that
sun
is-
and moon type of things, but then with elements from our stories inside. Where the hell did I see it?
Ah, That's a really good one.
Let me see.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we have in Canva, it's possible to. I've definitely found astrological like symbols as well.
I mean, you know, they don't have to be astrological per se, but they can have that kind of aesthetic to them. Can you see the file?
Let me see.
No.
Let's see. Yes. Okay, download.
And maybe you can share screen it because Robin, because I have a feeling not everybody sees it
Mhm.
in the
I
chat.
don't see it.
Yeah.
So let's see. Okay. Yeah. So do you see it?
And you know, inside there could be like even the parrot or
I was thinking of that. I was
story.
thinking of that. Yeah.
in this
Okay.
kind of,
But
Really
the
makes
thing is, this is from stock photo site, right?
yeah, this was just like suggest a kind
Yeah,
of aesthetic that I'm thinking of.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, it looks nice.
Yeah,
sun and
and
the
I
moon.
don't know. Yeah, there could be like a woman's hand holding the sun, since there are so many women in the stories, and then there could be a boy inside it because you know there's the unborn child in my story, and then there's the boy, the young man who kills himself in Eliza's story.
And
Okay,
there is the
okay.
monk as well.
There's a
Yeah.
mountain.
So about that, I would say let's. So it's kind of natural to want to have everything in a in an illustration, but the thing is that you won't see it. I mean, on a book cover, you often see it from far off, and you can't see all these little details. So I can show you how this is like when you're on Amazon. You need to have something that can be seen as a thumbnail size, you know. So, for example, let me see. Okay. Yeah. So if I share screen.
Something
Okay.
less intricate, right? Not
Yeah,
so detailed.
less intricate. Yeah. So if okay, now I can't do anything because there's all this Zoom stuff in the way. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so if I go to Amazon, damn, I can't move this stuff away. Okay, so if we go to just all, and I choose, for example, if I choose at the top of the books, so this is also something you can do, like you go to the Kindle store, for example, and then just press enter in, yeah, so then you will see, things that you can see there. There's a tree, there's a guy with his shirt off and a stethoscope, so he's obviously a doctor who goes to the gym a lot.
Of course there is.
Yeah. When he's not on 24-hour shifts. So, yeah, so I mean, right, and here, June, you can see it in very big letters, and you can just see these sand dunes and a little bit of sky in the background,
So it
but not
needs
so
to be
much
very
else.
suggestive.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be something that is unifying, like something that doesn't split off in all sorts of directions. So, right, this one is just says Atomic Habits really big, and this one is a picture of David Goggins, you know, so right, so it's you see what I mean? It doesn't go off, and these are
I know.
all
We'll
thumbnails.
use a really buff guy and we're all sorted.
What?
We'll use a buff vampire and we're all sorted.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need. A vampire. A vampire with big muscles.
Not gonna lie, I hate these cover tropes.
He's also a doctor.
Whoa, let's see, this one is called Possessive Doctor.
4 stars. Oh my god.
Yeah, 369 ratings. Okay. So let's not underestimate this. This is 369 ratings. I'll fix her, then keep her. Okay, and it's a series. Okay, customers support this or support this. Okay, so you get the idea, right? So this is the combination that I talked about. He's a doctor and he's also
I can't believe how many of them there are.
It's the most ubiquitous book cover on Amazon. That's the guy with his shirt off. So that's just how it is. Yeah, so that must mean that it sells. So anyway, and it's a very simple message, right? So that also serves to illustrate what I was talking about, how just one thing, one unifying thing. So we got to think of one thing to put in it.
And the title.
And the title, yeah. Let me see. By the way. Yeah, so we need to think of a title. I don't know. 7.
7, something needs to be with 7, because I just search for like a meaning, and it's just like the guardian angels that we are on, like tells us that we are on the right life paths. So I feel like everyone here, like every character in our stories, is looking to just like change his or her life or do something about it, on just like getting on a path. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know.
But I feel like any good story has something like that.
Yeah, we have
So
to find something, and we have to find it pretty damn quick. AKA PDQ, right? So we had to find something, a title, a cover. So do you know about, I mean, there are various sites online that have free illustrations. So I would suggest that anyone who wants to contribute to that, go on to some of those sites with free pictures, like unsplash.com, and Pixabay has also free pictures. There are several different sites. You can just search for it. Royalty-free images. And then we choose one of those. But it'll be really great if you can come up with some suggestions for next time that we can vote about, because otherwise we're going to have to find our illustration in the last minute.
yeah, I feel like we can go the other way about it and just look at pictures on what was it called, the Upsplash one. I've looked at that one
Unsplash.
before.
Mhm.
Unsplash, yeah, and then just see what strikes a chord, if that makes any sense. Like, oh, if you stumble upon a picture that you find would just go well with all of the stories. Like, this is what I'm planning to do for our cover, and I'll see where that takes me.
Great. Yeah, and I would suggest that other people do that as well, and then we can just battle it out in the last session. Okay. Yeah, I think we have.
But for the title, it's more difficult. I mean, I've no idea how to go about that.
Well, we could also go the other way, with the illustration first and the title afterwards, because the title might become obvious when we see the illustration.
That makes sense.
So, yeah. Okay. Is there anybody here who has decided to go hardcore show don't tell? No? Anyone who has decided to go moderately show don't tell? Yes, Liana. Was that only Liana? Because I'm not seeing everybody at the same time.
He's also.
What? So, Liana, is anyone else into show don't tell here? Elisa?
I'm not too sure.
I mean, I'm not sure it'll work out, but I'm trying it because I find it very stimulating. Because as you said, like in our first or second session, it's not something that we are accustomed to doing in the way that our brain works. So yeah, I'm just finding myself using an adjective, using an adverb, and then I delete that, and then I think, okay, how can I convey that? And I try for a while, and if I can find a way, that doesn't take 2 hours, then it works. And then sometimes I'm at a loss, and I really feel that I'm just making it too convoluted. So if I go for showing rather than telling, so it's a kind of trial and error, relationship with the technique, if that makes any sense.
For sure.
Basically a torture.
Yeah, and I mean, it is like that. The first times you know, in the beginning when you try to do show don't tell, the text tends to get longer, and then after that, when you master it, it gets shorter actually. So yeah, it's
So
it's a
this can be
process.
trained. This can be trained by exercise, or
Exactly. Yeah. It's a great thing to do. So, but of course, in many cases, it has to get worse before it gets better. So let's see if we can see anything here in Liana's that we can really make into show don't tell. Okay, Mary starts explaining, keeps her cool. Okay.
No, don't look at that bit, because that bit is just me structuring. Go further up.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so Mary was wearing one of her many baggy dresses that day, a black one with long flounced sleeves in order to make her arms look thicker. Yeah, so obviously it is telling, but it's not bad telling. It's like we're telling you that what her motivations are, and we're telling you that she has many baggy dresses. So
actually, this was me trying to suggest, to indicate that she thinks she's too thin without saying that.
So that's good. Okay, so you already have a certain level of showing here, rather than telling. But where could we make it even more? If we were going to go full retard on this, where could we make it more showing? How could we make this more showing?
The second paragraph?
Yeah, we're talking about Mary was wearing one of her many baggy dresses that day, a black one with long flounced sleeves, in order to make her arms look thicker.
So instead of saying baggy, I would say one of the dresses that she, I don't know, was swimming in. I don't know.
No, because if you already say, okay, so there are different levels to this, right? So we could say one of her many baggy dresses. Okay, so that's telling us that she has many baggy dresses. How could we show that she has many baggy dresses instead? Not just in this sentence, but how could we show it in general in the story?
Oh, in general. Okay. If a character says something like, have I seen you wear this before? And she says, no, this is another one.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Good. Very good.
Okay.
Yeah. That's showing.
This is so, like, I don't know, mind-wrecking. It's just, it feels like, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's very difficult, is what I'm trying to say.
So that's good, and so then we get the idea she has many. And what about in order to make her arms look thicker? That's also telling, right? That you're telling us that this is her motivation. How could we show this?
Maybe she was passing near a window and she was looking into the window, just passing, and she was contact of her appearance.
Yeah,
Or
but
it's
how do you
also-
show that she's content with her appearance?
Yeah, with an adjective or adverb.
He checked out her reflection and was pleased to see that.
Yeah, that's telling that she's pleased.
I don't know. Anybody else?
So, I mean, there's no one right answer, but there are many ways that you could do it, especially if you have unlimited space. Like if you really make it your life's mission to make it a 100% showing story.
Well, I would make it stand out in a conversation that you would have with some friends, where the friends would talk about how they look and, you know, weight and diet and clothes and makeup and I don't know what. And then she would totally completely change when they would try to get her opinion or get her to talk, she would immediately change the conversation to something substantial. And then they would say, why aren't you participating or responding? But that would already be too much telling. So, you know, she doesn't care about that. It's not important to her. And that suggests that she's balanced in, you know, what she feels about how she looks like.
But it is important to her, right? Because she wants her arms to look thicker. She thinks that she's too thin. This is her body image, right?
We were talking about how to show that she's pleased with how she looks, right?
She's not pleased. That's the point. That's
Pleased
why
with
she
the
wears baggy
dress.
dresses.
We're saying, how can we show that she's pleased with the fact that the dress makes her arms look thicker than they are, because this is what she's looking for.
Yeah, how can we actually, yeah, and that, I mean, that's one device to make her look pleased. Another device, I mean, but the thing we ultimately want to show is that the reason why she wears these dresses is because she wants her arms to look thicker. She wants to look like there's more of her, right? That she's not so thin.
She's trying to hide that she's so thin.
Yeah.
Well, you know, psychologically, we only think actively about something that's wrong or it's bothering us if it's unresolved. So the moment she wears a dress that makes her look like what she wants to look, that wouldn't be apparent in her conversation or behavior anymore. That's what I'm saying. So that would be showing that she, in that dress, she is content with how she looks.
Mhm.
But how would you phrase that?
I'll make it stand out in a dialogue that she has, and I would contrast it with another kind of dialogue where she would be so self-conscious about how she looks, and she would just talk about stuff that is related to how she looks. So I would make it show that once she's in that dress, she's completely able to ignore that and be suddenly on another level, have a very different kind of conversation. It's almost like she goes shopping with her friends. They have a pre-shopping conversation where she sounds superficial, or not superficial, but really overly worried about how she looks, you know, in the way she moves and what she talks about. And then once she has her dress on, she's a different person. She just, you know, she's out of that.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and it works. But what if she doesn't talk to anybody about it? You know, because my character, she's not really sharing these inner thoughts with anyone. And she wouldn't confess to someone. That's why she's wearing these dresses, you know?
No, I don't
So
think
then,
so. course, she doesn't have to confess or say. It's just a shift.
So it could be like the way that she looks at herself in the mirror. I don't know how that would be because I don't know the subject so well. But you know, like the angle that she looks from, maybe she makes a face, you know, after the dress has come off and she's looking at herself from the side, she might make a face or something like that. I mean, it's not that that is the golden solution. It's just like one of the things that you could do, like if you had unlimited space to make it as showy as you wanted to. It can be also in her opinions, like I don't want to look like, you know, like she doesn't like Kate Moss or something like that, you know. That it somehow shines through that she likes women to have curves, this kind of thing.
Well, I mean, she's just trying to get over the fact that she looks so skinny because she lost so much weight with the miscarriage, with the stillbirth, in a very, you know, rapid rhythm. So maybe if she's looking in the mirror and she says something to herself like, okay, this should do. I look, I don't know, I look less unhealthy, she said to herself.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit
But that's
on the borderline, right? Because, but maybe
Oh,
you
I'm
know,
sorry if I can just say something. Something just came to me. I think in her attempt to gain weight or, you know, make herself look less skinny, she used to choose certain products off the shelves in the store, maybe right after she miscarried or had the stillbirth. And right now she goes to the store and she doesn't even touch those. So that's a showing that she doesn't care about it anymore.
yeah, and you could, or it could be the other way around. So what I was going to say was like that she could be eating only stuff from the bakery, like only cakes or, you know, only ice cream because she really wants to put on weight, like whatever. Or she might even say when she's buying her coffee in the coffee shop, she might say, I want it with full fat milk, you know, and really, like, she might even get angry if the guy puts in skimmed milk instead of full fat milk, you know. So there are various ways of showing it. Yeah. Let's maybe have a look at Elisa.
I'm sorry, I have a question. So, I mean, I like the technique. It's provocative. I like thinking about it and working around my own adjectives and adverbs. No, not adverbs. But I mean, do we have to have a certain level of implementing it?
No, you don't have to. It's completely up to you. But it is a very useful technique, and if you like, it depends on how much capacity you have for implementing it at the moment. You know how much time you have and all that, because it takes some getting used to. But you know, like for the people who have a lot of time, it's a great thing to play with, because it's something that you can keep using in the future at different degrees.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Okay, so 12 hours. 12 hours until I am out of this dreamy mess. I need to make it worth the trouble. I say to myself as I lean towards the drawer, open it and put the little pouch with 2 more doses and the syringe in a corner and cover them with a whole stack of sketches. Since my parents never bothered to come to my room and check on me, I thought my poison was safe. Okay, so I mean, it's written in a certain way, like conveying the protagonist's state of mind, right? So, and I think it is compelling the way that it's written. So, I needed to make it worth the trouble. I say to myself as I lean. I mean, yeah, it's conveying a state of mind. So it's okay. It wouldn't really be counted as telling. 2 more doses in the syringe in a corner and cover them with. Yeah, so we get details here, right? 2 more doses, the syringe in a corner, cover them with a whole stack of sketches. So it's not here, not using adjectives, but just, okay, little pouch, but just having these details, which also says something about how this guy thinks about drugs. He's perhaps thinks about it in a detailed way. So I've never said anything. Yeah, so these are his inner thoughts. It's hard to say that that's his telling, like when you have a first person narrative with the inner thoughts, because it's sort of showing his thoughts.
That's why I really like writing in the first person narrative, usually.
Yeah, it makes things a lot easier with that. But yeah, so it's kind of gray zone. She died last night. The housekeeper found her on the bathroom floor, hugging her knees and trembling so hard that the poor woman was afraid even to touch her. Summary of the news. Yeah. And then punching a slice of red bell pepper. Okay. Yeah, it was only me who knew and felt my inner demon teasing my strings, pulling them with strong fingers and releasing the last chunk of self-control living in my body. My mom would sometimes look at me waiting for a reaction. Yeah, so again, I have a hard time finding something to protest against here. I mean, obviously there are some adjectives, but there's not something that is really like directly telling. I feel it's much more, you know, captivating with the state of mind of the boy. So yeah. So unfortunately, I can't criticize this one too much. I'll look harder. I'll look harder for next time. So what are we gonna do with, so it seems to me that everybody will finish their first draft within a couple of days. Is that correct? Something like that? And Laura, how does it look for you?
Do I have a choice? No.
Well,
I'll try to finish it a little bit earlier to send it to you, not to send it in the last moment on Monday evening. Okay, if it's okay for you as well.
Sure. And I mean, most important is that you finish it, of course,
To find
by Monday. Yeah.
That magic element to close.
Yes, that one missing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. So in that case, I will read. I'll start by reading Elisa's and give some feedback, and then as they come in, I will give you feedback, and hopefully, find the time to give feedback to everybody. And then we publish, and everybody knows what you need to do. Please look for an illustration, and yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any. Yeah.
I wish that the course was 7 sessions long, as you said it had been originally.
Yes. Yes. I prefer that as well, and it gives some
Why
more.
would- Why
Sorry?
it was shorter?
They just
Because
decided, the foundation, they decided that they wanted me to do 5 sessions instead of 7. So
Okay.
Pity.
so yeah, that's how it is.
Okay,
But
and what about, sorry,
yeah, Liana.
what about the drinks? So next
Oh yeah,
time,
yeah, the most important. Okay, yeah. So next time, that's right. Let's meet for drinks after we publish. So, and then when we are in the bar, we will see it going online, because it will take some time for them to process it and make sure that it doesn't contain anything, anything that it can't contain. So where do people, I mean, can we meet in the city somewhere? Because what we used to do is, of course, just go directly from the foundation's premises and then go to a bar nearby, on what's called Chiarosetti. But does anyone, I mean, for me, it's fine. I live close to Piazza Neri, so I could come to the center.
I live close to a board, so for me it's also fine. It doesn't take me too long to get to the city center.
For me, it's also okay. I live near Piazza Romana, so I'm fine.
This wouldn't be on Sunday, October 11th, right? This would
No, Monday, October 12th.
Monday.
Yeah. Was just, I looked already at the calendar.
So we will finish at 9 and then we'll go and meet there.
Yeah. So
Just wondering, couldn't we meet at 7 and have the session also? Or I don't know.
no, because we have to do it. We could do it in the bar, but we have to publish, and I don't know how the bar's internet connection.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we need to do it on Zoom on from this account and all that. So, but I would say just put on our shoes and go and meet in the bar. So, okay, in that case, we'll think of a place. How is it now? Are the bars open indoors?
I was in town yesterday and pretty much everything is open as far as I could tell.
Yeah, so we can also sit inside. Yeah, because it might be cold.
But I don't know what the weather will be like by then, because this week is supposed to be quite warm still. And I know that inside the rules are not very clear as to, whether you have to wear the mask or not. I'm not really sure because I only sat outside.
Yeah, well, you don't have to wear it when you're drinking, probably. So
yeah, that's for sure. I think if
So
you're
we need
sitting
to drink all the time.
all the time, yeah. I'm sure we'll be celebrating. So.
Do you have a place in mind?
No, well, we have some places that we go to near the foundation, but let me think. We'll think about it until next time. I mean, It has to be, yeah, it's not that hard to find a place. So everybody is okay with sort of one of those three, Universitate Uniti, Romana, near those areas.
Yes.
Great.
In
And
my case, there is a small problem, basically because I'm not in Bucharest, I'm in Brasov, so
Oh.
I won't be able to make it.
Brasov. That's a great idea.
Yes, you can come to Brasov.
yeah, let's go to
No
Brasov.
option. That's an option,
I'm
yeah.
not kidding. I'm not kidding. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Great way to finish this.
So what's
Spend the whole weekend there.
No, we can take the train, We can
yes, it's faster by train than by car.
and we can do the session on the train.
Yes, there's always that. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we'll think about a place for next time, and yeah, I mean it's not that hard. And great, I'm glad that we'll be meeting in the flesh next time.
Me
So
Good.
so yeah, happy writing until then.
Thank you.
have a good night, everyone.
Yeah,
You
good
too.
night.
Night, everyone. Bye.
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 Everyone.